ఇప్పుడు నెట్వర్క్ ఇష్యూ వచ్చింది చదువుకుని కాలేదు ఎప్పటి నుంచి కనిపిస్తున్నది అన్నమాట. లైవ్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తాను. లైవ్ ఆడియో ప్లాన్స్ మెడికల్ కావచ్చు. నాకు యూట్యూబ్ నుంచి డైరెక్ట్ లైవ్ స్ట్రీమ్ ఓబిఎస్ ఏమో యూట్యూబ్ నుంచి ఓన్ స్ట్రీమ్ వస్తుంది ఆడియో వస్తుంది కదా. వీడియో వస్తుంది వస్తుంది చాలా స్ట్రక్చర్ వస్తుంది. మన ఆడియో వస్తుంది చాలా ఆడియో వచ్చింది.
Conclusion. These become even more important, and therefore, while on one hand we have high-tech tools, human touch cannot be forgot, and the finesse with which we combine these two is the hallmark of our leadership, and that's the key challenge of the leadership. I would like to acknowledge the two organizations that have been involved in curating this program, the Street Course and Young Talent Council of National HRD Network. Fantastic job done by both of you, the teams, all the individuals who have been informed. Great job done. My compliments to everyone who has joined. I acknowledge a lot of senior people who have joined, senior leaders like Mr. Bharat Mehta, Dr. Devanand, and many others. Please forgive me if I'm not able to take all the names. But I truly appreciate all of you joining this morning for a very important seminar. Just a minor correction. I think my colleague mentioned that National HRD Network comprises of something like 33 chapters. Actually, that data is little dated. We were 35 chapters 2 years ago. Today, even as we talk, we are 59 chapters, which includes 4 chapters outside India, and which also includes more than 15, 16 chapters in various universities, which are called as student chapters. So that's the expansion which has happened in NHRD in last 2 years. Kudos to everybody who has been a part of the journey. Young Talent Council has been a significant force in driving this journey, and I truly compliment all of them, all the YTC members, Young Talent Council members. Once again, thank you so much for curating this event. Very well thought through. Back to you, Sahil, and all the best to everybody for making the best use of this opportunity. I'll be taking leave of you because I have another meeting to join. But my best wishes to everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, for those inspiring words and for setting a perfect tone for this conference. Thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that excellent start, it's time to move into the next segment of our event. I'm delighted to introduce a keynote speaker for Neural Shift, and he's someone really special joining us from halfway across the world. In fact, it's quite late at night for him in the US. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Tarun Mehra. He's a technology and product strategy leader who has been at the forefront of AI innovation at Microsoft. He has extensive experience in building products and solutions that leverage AI, and he's deeply passionate about how emerging technologies can shape the future of work. Despite the late start in time, graciously agreed to be here with us, which shows his commitment to sharing knowledge with all of us. We are truly honored to have him. In today's keynote, Mr. Mehra will be sharing his perspective on how AI is transforming industries and what that means for our career. So, without further ado, let's give Mr. Tarun Mehra a huge virtual round of applause. Tarun, thank you for joining us, and the stage is now yours.
Thanks, Sahil. This is great. When you all reached out, it was a no-brainer for me to say yes to this. I'm always excited to meet the students, the next generation of the workforce, and share whatever little I can. If that's going to be of value to anyone, that's great. And organizer Sahil, Bhargavi, all of you, this is awesome. Thank you for putting this together. I value the opportunity. I'm gonna do. I only have 10 minutes. That's what I'm told. So I'm gonna use the time wisely, and I'm gonna break the discussion into three parts. One, I'm gonna tell you about my own journey. Second, I'm gonna share a little bit more data around some of the things that Sahil, you were saying, and what Prem were saying. And the third one is I'm going to share a story that hopefully relates all of this data with the message that we're trying to relay to. The second and third in reverse order. So a little bit about myself. I started my career long time back. I don't want to say how long back, and you guys will understand what my age is. But I started my career on the technology side. I did a lot of product development, programming at the time. This is like early 2000s when a lot was going on from the technology point of view, and everyone was trying to get into technology at the time. And I did that for about 3 years. I totally enjoyed that. Did all the usual stuff around programming, databases, C, Java. I did that after my engineering degree. After 2.5 years, I started feeling like I should be doing more than this. I got attracted more towards the business side of things, and I decided to go to school. I did my uni. I came back, and I was very sure all I wanted to do is business strategy, business consulting, less of hardcore, hands on the keyboard, programming and technology stuff. I did that for about actually 15 to 18 years in the space of business strategy and consulting, where I used to work for Monitor Group, which is part of Deloitte now, and used to advise, CEOs and the board of a variety of different industries on issues related to growth strategy, innovation strategy, business strategy, portfolio planning, all of that stuff. And then about 5 years ago, something changed in my mind. And you know what? I was feeling I'm enjoying more, and I started gravitating much more towards technology again. And when I say technology, at this point, technology had changed drastically. It was very, very ingrained in the business processes, very, very ingrained in the business strategy, innovation strategy. So there was no way any of the pure strategy consulting firms could just survive without getting much deeper into the technology side of things. So those three stages of my career, I look at that as technology to business and back to techno business is what I like to call it. I joined Microsoft a couple of years ago. There's no way any strategy consultant today can survive. Whether you talk about McKinsey, BCG, Bain, Deloitte, Accenture, other companies where you're not speaking the tech language to the clients, even though you're coming in as a business strategist. You have to have an understanding of technology. So that's my journey. The second part, quick story. We were on a family vacation a couple of days ago. The second quick story. We were on a family vacation. Rain was referenced a couple of days ago. The second quick story. We were on a family vacation. Rain was referenced a couple of days ago. The second quick story. We were on a family vacation. Rain was referenced a couple of days ago. The second quick story. We were on a family vacation. Rain was referenced a couple of days ago. The second speaking about, you have to be starting from AI first. You have to be starting from technology first. So it's like the flip side of it. That's the future. Everybody here, who's studying in the undergraduate and going into the workforce in a few months or years, you guys are the future. And we have to, we the old timers have to adjust, and you have a much bigger problem to deal with in terms of deal with us. So I think we have to shift the narrative a little bit. It's not about how these two streets. It's about how to land ourselves in a way of how future is going to be. So coming back to the story, my daughter, we were in Ireland and we took a bus tour. No, we were deciding whether we should just go around the city, explore the city by ourselves, or should we use like good old bus tour and a tour guide. And then she started by saying in her unique, not so unique for the Gen Alpha generation, like, and all we need is ask Chat GPT, as we walking around the city, like what is what, and we don't need a tour guide. And then we did that one day. And then, so where we landed, well, we said, okay, day one, we're going to do that. Day two, let's use the old time, the good old, bus tour and a tour guide. We did both. And then while we enjoyed day one with Chat GPT, like we had all the information, we had all the insights or everything that we were watching. We had perfect information about where to go, what to watch. On second day, it was much more fun in a different way, in a very orthogonal dimension, where the tour guide, the human touch was just so valuable that it's hard to ignore. And on day three, like discussing over breakfast, like what did we enjoy more? And then my daughter was like, it was the day two she enjoyed more. Like ChatGPT gave her a lot of data and a lot of insights about what to look for. But the second day, having that human connection, someone explaining that history to you, someone who has lived that life in a country which is not yours, in the culture which is not yours, which was hugely valuable. So I think that's the dichotomy and the dual narrative that we are hearing today. And I think for the foreseeable future, we're going to continue to, hear that. And the key takeaway from my point of view from that is like we hear these dual narratives about tech is here, tech is evolving very fast, and then the soft skills really matter, and then people either supporting this or that. And in my viewpoint, there's no future where that's not super connected. People who are able to connect that fundamentally in how they operate and how they see the world will be the ones who will be successful. So with that in mind, the third part of my keynote is really quick. I'm going to share like a couple of pages with you. And Sahil, please feel free to stop me. When the time is up. I don't want to take more time than I'm allotted. Can you guys see this?
Yes, visible.
Okay, so this is what I was speaking about. If you think about, what you are hearing, and especially for the young undergrads, you're hearing two sides, two dual narratives. On the left-hand side, you're saying tech skills matter. Tech evolution is happening really, really fast. On the right-hand side, you're also hearing, but human skills matter equally, if not more. So what is true? Like, where do you invest your time and the skill set that you're trying to build? This is going back to the first part of the narrative, like tech is evolving fast from the left. Yes, artificial intelligence, deep learning, Gen AI, the names have changed over the years. The nature is evolving and much more can be done, but a lot is happening really fast. There are five levels of AI right now that we speak about. If you look at the OpenAI charter, we are at past the level one conversation level, interacts with ChatGPT, and Gemini Cloud, many other tools, getting level twos, complex tasks, agentic architecture, but agentic architecture, level four already experimenting with innovation level and agentic orchestration, and then level orchestration not there yet. Level five, you're not there yet. We may have small small organization completely being run by agents who are digital agents who are digital agents. They may be managing each other. They may be one person, one CEO, one CEO. Because you don't need a lot of people to run the mandate that you run. So yeah, tech is evolving really fast. But this is the flip side of the story. But this is the flip side of the story. This is another survey that was done by again some of the stuff that Prem was saying earlier, stuff that Prem was saying really hard data, very visual, really hard data, very visual, very data objective guy. So this should tell you. These are the top 25, 30 like these are the top 25, 30 skills that economic forum said are going to be new. The yellow highlighted ones, the yellow highlighted ones are the ones which have nothing to do. If you look at the top five, if you look at the analytical thinking, resilience, agility, leadership, creative thinking, innovation, and self. There's no technology in those four, the five top. The fifth one is when you start getting into technology literacy. And then there are like four more which are all about empathy, curiosity, talent management, service orientation. And then you get to the 10th one, which is AI and big data. So which narrative do you believe? This is another view from Forbes, which is in the top 90 skills that employees will need to have in the next 5 years. And then the yellow ones highlighted here are the ones which has nothing to do with technology. Again, you look at the top 19, 14 to 15 out of the top 19 has nothing to do with technology. It's about adaptability. It's about cognitive flexibility, learn to learn, like one of my favorites. Inquisitiveness, curiosity. Again, no surprises for them. You guys are all smart people. But I think when we look at these dichotomous dual narratives in the industry, and young minds who are starting to get into or preparing to get into the workforce, which story to believe and what decision do you want to make becomes super critical. There's a school of thought which, or part of the population that truly believes like if you want to be successful, all you want to do is learn technology, learn programming or learn coding, vibe coding, AI, all of that stuff, because the other skills are not going to matter. And then there is the other side of the story, which like you're seeing here on this page, say like tech will continue to evolve and evolve, and what really matters is the human skill. So what do you believe? I think our take is like employers need both. Like these are not like the opposite sides. This is getting converged. Like irrespective of whether you are in marketing, whether you're building a campaign, whether you are in sales and driving sales and using different tools, whether you're a nurse or a doctor, it's going to be impossible for any of these careers or personas to survive and thrive without using technology in a meaningful way. So what does that mean for all of you here? If I could offer like, one piece of advice, it's like learn the tech. Like one, definitely don't run away from it. What tech means for your career goals, what tech means for the persona and the career that you want to develop into, you define that. It doesn't always have to be, writing AI models. There are plenty of people doing that. It might be choosing the right one that serves the purpose that you care about. The second is the double down on soft skills. I can't emphasize enough, that we have been in meeting rooms deciding on, which candidate to choose. where it's like on technology, there's a person who's 9 out of 10, soft skills 5 out of 10, and there's another person who's 8 out of 10 on tech, but 9 out of 10 on soft skills and adaptability, inquisitiveness, curiosity, all of those. We will choose, a lot of 9 out of 10 times we're going to choose the second person. The third one, stay adaptable. Like it's, I keep going back to my story. 20 years back when I was making, some of the decisions about my career, it won't make sense at all if I knew what I knew today. So I think be open to change. Things are going to change like every 2 years. When I was, getting into my career, things used to change like every 5 to 7 years. Now things are changing every 2 years. In future, it's going to change like every year or so. So adaptability is going to be super, super important. And this is the last thought that I would leave you with, and then I shut up. It's not one thing or the other. It's not like AI or human. It's going to be together, AI plus human. That's going to be the future. Irrespective of what career you choose, irrespective of what country you are in, or what growth stage of your career you are in. So that's it. I think I don't want to take, I don't know, Sahil, that if I took more time than I was supposed to, but again, this is a very, very meaty topic. I could speak for hours on this and share, many, many more stories, but hopefully that gave you guys, some context based on, my own stories, some of the stories that other stories that I shared, and some of the data points. Super important, to ground all the narratives in data points, build your own opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tarun. It was really insightful. I mean, even though you went maybe a couple of minutes extra, but it was okay for you to even keep going because it was that interesting. So thank you so much for that inspiring keynote, Tarun.
Thank you. And again, congratulations on putting this together. It's a great forum. I'll have to take your leave for another, it's really late here.
Yeah.
Helpful, but if anyone wants to talk separately, you can. Thanks.
Thank you, Tarun. You've given us a lot to think about regarding the future and the role of AI. Thank you so much. With that, it's time for our first panel discussion. The theme for our first panel discussion is From Coders to Creatives, Designing a U-Shaped Career. It is all about exploring how you can craft a unique career path that fits your own strengths and passions. In today's world, careers aren't one size fits all. You might start as a coder, like we were just sharing, and later discover your creative side or vice versa. This discussion will help us understand how to blend technical skills with creativity to design a career that's authentically U-shaped. So we have a fantastic lineup of panelists who will share their experience and advice on the topic. It's my pleasure to introduce the moderator for the first session. We have Gautam Saladi. He's an HR manager at Microsoft with his experience in talent development and HR. He's perfectly positioned to guide the conversation on balancing different skills and interests in your career. I'll now hand it over to our moderator, Gautam, to introduce the panel and kick off the discussion. Over to you, Gautam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sahil. And I must say it was such an inspiring session hearing Tarun and Prem and yourself as well, Sahil, who set the platform really well. I think it's a perfect segue to this panel discussion. And like Tarun mentioned, there's a dual nature to what we are experiencing today in this tech revolution, from tech to human skills, and like the panel discussion's topic, from coders to creatives. There's a dual nature on it, and we have an amazing panelists who have lined up to share their experiences. So let's get into it. Firstly, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where you're joining us from. And welcome to our first panel discussion. We are living in extraordinary times, and careers are no longer the straight lines what we have imagined when we were studying probably or a few years back. And one key role that has played in this whole thing is AI, right? And it's not just the pace, like Sahil mentioned, the pace of how many users have adopted AI, but the very nature of what is success for us in this new world. You might be a computer scientist, you might have started out as a coder, but but you might discover along the way that you might want to get into product or creativity or design thinking or even people leadership roles, whatever is your true calling. And that's completely fine because I think AI, data, and automation, which are currently the buzzwords and the new technologies, allows you to do that. So today's conversation, we'll delve into this. We'll talk about what does that mean to design a U-shaped career in the age of AI. It's about owning that journey, owning your own aspirations and skills, especially now that AI is rewriting the playbook of how careers grow, how we pivot, how we thrive, and most importantly, what does success mean for us? So with that, let me start off with introducing our three outstanding panelists who have careers across various skill sets, experiences, and backgrounds. To begin with, we have Mario David, who is a Vice President of Organizational Development at JP Morgan Chase, who knows how to nurture talent and creativity even in a highly structured corporate environment. Then we have Gaurav Khaneja, who is a Senior Software Engineer at Google, who turns complex code into human-centric innovations and works at the frontier where AI meets creativity. Then we have Swati Negi, who is a team lead for university recruiting at Gartner India, who spots early potential and helps young professionals frame their unique stories across the AI-shaped job market. So let's give them a warm welcome. Thank you so much, Mario, Gaurav, and Swati, for joining us. Okay, so with that, let's get started on this panel discussion. So let's begin with each of your own career arcs. So Mario, if I can start with you first. In a world where AI is accelerating workplace change, how have you balanced the organizational needs with personal creativity? And as a leader, how you have helped others to do the same? If you could share your thoughts on this.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, Mario.
Fantastic, great. I think, like the previous panelist who spoke, very categorically mentioned the importance of creativity, problem solving, importance of adaptability, because technology, what is relevant now, 5 years from now, will not be relevant at all, right? So it's so very important that we try to get to understand what exactly is an individual's personal thoughts, problem solving ability, and innovation that is there. So we have multiple forums that we do. We try to create certain labs. We create certain aspect called Power Up, or we use certain terms called an Innovation Week, where we get the people from different work streams to write about certain white papers. What is the problem statements? We publish certain problem statements, so they think about it. They come up with a concept of white paper. We encourage these white papers so that a lot of innovation comes. And we ensure that while these white paper happens, people are collaborating from different work streams or from different verticals altogether, trying to get their thoughts, trying to get their inputs, and then they start publishing this white paper. During that time, we see that, since the white paper has multiple stakeholders that are involved in that, the ideas that are going to come out with a problem statement will be immense. So this is one forum. Of course, we tell them to use AI. We tell them to see what is happening in the technology. They can use the assistant of technology, but then with the help of the technology to format the white paper, to get to know what is going on in the market, to understand what would be the numbers pertaining to a particular issue area. But the main focus here is their individual mind's innovation. How are they thinking together? How are they collaborating together? How are they able to adapt to different changes that are happening together? So I think that is one forum that we have where we call it different names, different organization calls it, but innovation is a key aspect that we try to drive here. And we have a forum called White Paper where we ensure people collaborate and talk about different creative ideas using the AI tool which is there in the system.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing about that initiative, Mario. And I think one of the things which we've been hearing a lot about adoption of AI or the latest technologies is how the innovation is ground up, which is innovation really happens at the ground level, at people who are working on these key business processes and how faster they can adopt AI. And initiatives like this really help them to put their thoughts. It's kind of like a forcing function as well, but at the same time, it helps them to adopt new technologies faster and come up with these ideas, which can then the organizations can take it forward to adopt in real life scenarios. Thank you so much for sharing about that white paper initiative. If I can switch gears now and go to Gaurav. So Gaurav, with your foundation in engineering, and we all know that AI is rapidly expanding, and there's definitely, when we are looking at engineering, there's definitely a product and a creative side that is coming in the forefront, the user experience or many other features from a design element. So how did you adopt some of these into your ways of working, and how has that influenced your career journey so far?
Yeah, yeah, that's a interesting question, right? So, what I would do, I would first describe the problem that one of the problem that we are currently trying to solve using AI. So I work in private cloud, and our stack is pretty big with uh, you know thousands of people working on it, and our CI pipelines, continuous integration pipelines, generate hundreds of bugs every week. It was a lot of toil for all the engineers. Like no engineer want to dig into the bugs, go through like a lot of logs and figure out what the problem is, right? So here we are trying to leverage AI to do this toil work which no human wants to do. We're trying to build agents which have understanding of our code base, which have understanding of the logs, figure out the root causes, and potentially send the fixes as well, right? So uh, with that, what I would say is, the with AI, we have new powerful set of tools, right? Which we are still learning all the potential that they have, but we have quite a good understanding as well, right? So we are trying to think along the way the problems which were not in our reach previously. They are we can try to solve them now, right? So we have to sort of change our mental model in the sense that we should not be thinking about, okay, this is the task that I was doing and now AI is doing. We need to embrace those tools and figure out what more, right, that I can do with these power tools. Yes, which involves creativity, right? uh, Hope that answers.
Yeah, great. No, thank you so much for sharing that. I think, I mean, tying back to what Tarun mentioned about adaptability, it's sometimes it's always about the mental models that we have, and sometimes some level of biases that we carry from our own experiences, which could be limiting in this new world of AI. And it would require us to reinvent and maybe redesign our own mental models to be adaptable and to see how the new set of tools can really empower us in what we do on a daily basis. So thank you for sharing that real life example, Gaurav, from your work. Great. So now if I can go to Swati, and Swati, great to have you as well. So from your perspective, and how AI tools are influencing, and this is probably what would be interesting for our target audience today. How are you seeing candidates prepare and present themselves in this new age of AI? And what is something that truly stands out when you look at university hiring and the new candidates who are coming into the market? What is something that really stands out as you start looking at candidates for your own university hiring and your own job?
Great. Thank you, Gautam. Can you hear me clearly?
I can, yes.
Awesome. Great. So I want to start off with first just thanking you to inviting me for the panel discussion. Really appreciate the opportunity to share insights and to such a promising group. And I hope I can conversation. Starting off with the two parts to your question, I'll address the first one regarding how is it really shaping how students are really leveraging AI. I would probably talk about the few things that I have noticed in my career and how it's transitioned is that students are leveraging a lot for, let's say, resume enhancement optimization. So we use a lot of systems like AI powered platform to tailor their resumes and cover letter. and when we do see those profiles come to us, right, it's so attuned and aligned to what we're looking for in the job description. So I think that tailoring is there. Second is around, I think, using it for interview preparation, doing mock interviews, understanding the feedback, responses, simple things like body language, etc. Like, for example, Toastmaster has an AI tool, right, which helps you in how your tone is, etc. Then lastly, around personal branding. So a lot of us, like I take care of the APAC hiring, and we've seen that across regions. Now everybody is kind of out there on social media and how they're actually changing their LinkedIn profile. Again, leveraging AI tool to make sure that how you stand as compared to the others, and being able to present yourself in a more cohesive and a professional image that you would, put across to the recruiters. Coming to your second part, that what makes a path truly stand out, and I know everybody would have heard this again and again, but I think it's truly that really matters is being authentic. Recruiters value, when you are being authentic over just using the same generic AI generated responses while sharing. And then I think how proactive are you in terms of your own learning, and that kind of comes out during the interview, which we can talk later in future questions as well. And then around just human touch, I think the ability to just balance that technology with interpersonal skills, and like Mr. Tarun also mentioned, right, your emotional intelligence, all these things does come into the picture, and you want to have a right balance of the two versus just skewed towards one side. Yeah.
Great. No, that's amazing. I think thank you so much for sharing those insights, Swati. Especially the resume optimization and cover letters. I know I've seen a ton of tools there online, and I
Yeah.
really wish if they existed when I was graduating. But it's such a
Same.
privilege. It's such a privilege for this new students who are graduating to have these tools. But at the same time, it is also about balancing and ensuring that we are not just having an AI generated responses or content on these key documents that show to the organizations who you are as a person. It's important to bring that authentic and grounded experience and about yourself, the human touch in these key documents. So and also how you present in some of these discussions, candidate discussions. So thank you for sharing that, Swati. All right. So again, now we'll probably delve a little bit deeper into some of these topics, and it's a great start to our segment. So Mario, if I can come to you now, and you have kind of shared some bit of this initially on the white paper initiative and other initiatives that you have. But in the large organizations like yours, what's the best way to create those safe spaces for employees to experiment, to kind of venture into new and unknown? Mainly because I think there's always a fear of failure, right? And sometimes that could come into your, let's say, an annual appraisal or reviews. So there's always a fear of failure if something doesn't work out, and especially with new technology where it is a lot of this still is currently being experimented and being worked on. So how does your organization or yourself as a leader create that safe environment for employees to venture into unknown and experiment more?
Sure. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, with fear of failure, definitely the creativity gets killed. I'll give you an example because we are a big bank and there are different processes that runs. We call them as different work streams that run. It could be consumer lending, mortgages, credit cards, cyber security and controls like that. We have different work streams. So what we do usually is we set up an AI innovation lab. In this lab, where different teams from risk, team from compliances, team from IT, team from customer service, team from home loan mortgages, credit card, they all collaborate, right? Instead of testing a new AI model directly on a sensitive customer's data, because anything that we do, we cannot directly experiment on a customer's data. So this is where the AI Innovation Lab comes. The lab provides a very synthetic data sandboxes, where cross-functionally the team experiments with an AI model. They detect what could be the fraudulent transaction faster. They detect what could be the higher level of customer satisfaction scores that we could do. Compliance ensures regulatory requirements are met from the start till the end using AI. Customer service adds insights on customer pain points. What could be the actual pain points? How the thought of AI could be driven to address this pain point in a much more faster or much more a digital way. IT team provides a secure cloud infrastructure. Cybersecurity team gives the threat modeling. So these sort of innovation labs when we create, which is more of an AI-driven innovation labs where different verticals, number one, these different verticals collaborate with each other. Number two is different perspective that happens. And in this discrete perspective, even if the first model fails that they do, there is no risk is possessed to a real customer, right? When the risk is not posed to a real customer, when one model shows promises, it gradually pilots to a next level. So that failure becomes an experiment for us to progress to the next level. And this is something that we could do across the bank. So I think the best way is to design, to directly answer your question, to design a psychological safety is by structure, complete structure you put in place. Because in a large scale organization like that, where we have 2 lakhs plus of employees, leaders can set up different AI sandboxes with a dedicated environment where employees from different functions can collaborate on a project. So that you eliminate, so there is no fear of immediate failure, because the major fear will be is if I fail, how it will impact the business outcome, right? So these sort of labs, they could fail, it will not impact the business outcome. Pair them up with clear. The very important aspect of this is okay. One, the mistake that people do is they create the sandboxes, they create this innovation labs. But what's important here is how do you define clear governance? How do you have mentorships? Where the senior leaders act as a mentor or the peers act as a peer mentor. Okay. Or you have mentors from AI experts who could guide them through. And then there is a leadership endorsement as well. And by this, you create a culture where experimentation is encouraged, you create a culture where mistakes are encouraged and are shared openly, and the successful pilot can also scale up into a different solution which can be implemented in the organization. So I would say that this is something that can be adapted easily.
So thank you so much for sharing that, Mario. Especially, I think what resonated with me is creating the safe environment and psychological safety through structure and the ability to create those cross-functional teams across the organization, and also providing those sandbox environments for people to experiment, for teams to experiment and pilot before getting into any sensitive data. Because I think one of the key words what we have been hearing also is about how do we use AI responsibly. And I think some of these helps us to build those guardrails to ensure that we are doing all the required tests and experiments before we kind of use it on the real life scenario. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, Gaurav, if I can come to you now and kind of going deeper into what we discussed last time is what's that one or key non-technical skill that you have seen as you work on various projects on the engineering side, which has now been amplified by AI? Because I think even prior to AI, there's always an element of soft skills and human-centric designs. That's not something new which AI is bringing in. But what's something that AI has really amplified? And what is that you've seen has a biggest impact on the work you do as an engineer?
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of things where AI is helping. I'm definitely, making PPTs, writing docs, right, making figures, technical figures, right. Definitely, I think it's common for everybody. I would say one thing where I really am thankful to AI is the meeting summaries. So I have a lot of night meetings with US counterparts, right? I don't have to attend them. I get very crisp one-liner summary of what was discussed and concluded from Gemini. So that's I think to just a short answer for your question, right? That's the one thing that has improved my life.
Thank you for sharing that. I think one of the things what I've also seen is earlier we used to have FOMO, fear of missing out on meetings. But I think now with
Exactly.
AI giving us good summaries, we are now embracing JOMO, which is joy of missing out.
Yes.
So I think that's one non-technical skill which helps us to get in sync with some of that offline information or not
Yeah,
being there
yeah,
all the time.
exactly. Yeah. So you have like a personal assistant which attends meeting for you and then just tell
Correct.
you press the.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for that. Swati, if I can come to you now, and again, going deeper into what you've shared earlier, right? And as recruiters, as your organization, what do you see, or how do you see the candidates are coming these days with the framework of AI fluency plus creativity, and what is the right winning combination for the candidates as they now coming into the job market? What is something that really stands out for you as a right mix between the AI fluency, technical skills, and the creative skills?
Sure, thank you. So I think it's definitely a winning combination. When you talk about AI fluency, it means that you're aware of it, how to use technology, etc. Right? And when it comes to the creativity side, it's around mostly around problem solving. And no matter which situation you are in, you're always problem solving. And creative problem solving is something which is a go-to thing for everybody.
No, I think we might have lost Swati there, right? Okay, no problem. So maybe once she's back, we can continue the conversation.
Sorry, I
She's
think
back.
I don't know what happened. Great
No
tech.
problem.
All right. So yeah, I think when you do see the resume is the first touch point between a recruiter and a candidate, right? And in that case, you can obviously clear through it based using AI. But the next step is when you're coming into the interviews, either with the hiring manager or with the recruiter, and that's where you have to really shine out. And there would be questions around. I would definitely encourage candidates to talk more about how they've leveraged both these things and use specific examples. So we call it as the behavioral based interviews where we throw situations at the candidates that tell me about a time when you did this or were you able to influence somebody or use technology to drive results. So one is just being specific with the examples, using a STAR approach, which is situation, task, action, and results, and also being able to show that you're learning agility, that okay, this is what I have done as part of the academic curriculum, but then there are certain things that I'm doing beyond that with regards to certification courses, etc., which shows that you're always like you said, right, you have the reins to your own career. So it kind of reflects through how much effort you're putting in the interview preparation. And I would always say problem solving. So whether it's MBB, they'll always have some case study involved. Whether it's Gartner, we'll always have some kind of a role play involved where that's where we start seeing that okay, this whatever is written on the paper is truly coming out as part of the interview process. So yes, I think being able to leverage it and using these tips would definitely help you shine out.
Awesome. No, thank you so much for sharing that, Swati. I think these are really useful for our audience today. So I hope they can take back all the important elements that you have shared just now so that they can bring in the right mix as they start their journeys into the corporate world. I think we are running short of time, so we'll probably take questions now. I see one question on the chat, and then if I can request Mario to address this. The question is on any tips on how to handle the resistance and motivate people to adapt to change. I think, yeah, this is something that we hear very often with change, the resistance. So how do we motivate people to adapt to this?
That's a very good question. And yes, of course, it's a human behavior, and resilience is something very, very important because resistance to change has various aspects to it, psychological aspect as well. That's involved. So, number one is, I think, motivating them or adapting them for resistance to change is to first to acknowledge the fear, because most of the time we don't acknowledge, we try to jump into conclusion. I think people often resist because there is always a fear of loss. And moreover, nowadays there are a lot of buzzwords. Okay, AI is going to take off this job. A lot of buzzwords, a lot of reports that have been published across. There is definitely a fear that is involved. There is definitely a resistance that is involved. So I think first is to very openly acknowledge the fear. It could be fear of loss of control, fear of losing their skills, the relevancies of their work, or the entire process that is going to get rolled out. So, second important thing is the WIFM, which we talk about, the old one, is to show them what's in it for me, right? So that's extremely important because connect the change to a personal benefit. Less mutual work, more creativity, new career opportunities, collaborating within the different functions. So, what's in it for me is something very, very important. And another important aspect is it's very important to involve them early. To handle resistances, the earlier the better. Sometimes we give that time actually piles up to a lot of confusion. And remember, resistance to change, it is directly leading to the culture of the organization, right? That culture is extremely important. The next important aspect is, I would say, is invest in learning. Okay, the more they learn, because often continuous upskilling, continuous mentoring, even in my earlier aspect, I spoke about mentoring because that is something that is missing out big time in a lot of organizations as well. So, continuous learning, continuous upskilling, mentoring, and tools so that the employees feel safe, the employees feel equipped, and they are not left behind. I think so. These are the points. Is one is acknowledge the fear, with it, involve them early, and fourth is it's important to invest in learning.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mario. And we really are now running out of time. So I just like to thank the three panelists who are here with us today, Mario, Gaurav, Swati. And before we close, and quickly, if I can get from you one sentence on what does a U-shaped career mean to you. So maybe we start off with Swati. Swati, what does a U-shaped career mean to you in the age of AI?
Thanks. So for me, I think it would be just make sure that you review and personalize the output so that your authentic self, your voice shines out through. And the goal isn't to let AI speak for you, but to use it as an enabler, as a launch pad to your career ahead. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Swati. Gaurav?
Yeah, I think for me, it's learning about the new powerful tool set that AI is giving us, and there are a lot of them, and trying to figure out which problems that we can solve, right? Using the creativity of these tools and power of them.
Awesome. Thank you. And Mario, if we can close with you today, what is, in one sentence, a U-shaped career mean to you?
I think in the age of AI, it means designing a path that technology can enhance but never replace. I think that's very important. One that's anchored in your unique mix of skills. Very important is to understand skills, understand values, and the purpose. Okay, so that's what it means to me. So the U-shaped career in the age of AI means designing a path that technology can enhance but could never replace. And always keep your skills up, keep your values also up, and the purpose to be very clear.
Great. Thank you so much, Mario. And it's great interacting with all three of you, really getting to learn more about what you do and just deep diving into your own areas of work. And thank you so much. I have learned a lot. I hope the audience did as well. With that, I'll hand it back to Sahil. Sahil, over to you.
Thank you so much, Gautam, and a big thank you to Mario, Gaurav, and Swati for that insightful discussion. Let's all give them another round of applause for sharing their experiences and wisdom. Thank you. Now, building on that momentum, let's move into our second panel. Uh, this is actually a very fascinating and timely topic. It is humans versus algorithms. Who decides what's right? As technology and artificial intelligence become more embedded in how decisions are made, whether in hiring, performance reviews, or our everyday life, we must ask whether do we draw a line between automated processes and human judgment. In this panel, we'll explore how to strike the right balance between trusting algorithms and relying on human values and ethics. We have another group of excellent panelists to shed light on this theme. I'm delighted to introduce the moderator for the second session, Shivani Sindhwani. She's a senior talent developer partner at Adobe. With her experience in employee benefits and well-being, she brings a people-centric perspective to the discussion. Shivani will guide the conversation on when to rely on algorithms and when to rely on human discretion. So I welcome Shivani and over to you.
Thanks, Sahil. And thank you to the wonderful panelists and speakers who went before us and really helped set the stage for the conversation today in terms of giving us a broad perspective of what is the AI landscape, what is changing, what is its scale, what is it meaning for different organizations from a bird's eye perspective, how are functions changing, how are the outputs expected changing. As the last panel discussion today, our focus will be to delve down deeper. The topic being humans versus algorithms is a conversation that's evolving. Nobody has an answer. We don't know if it's a versus, if it's an and, if it's an or, right? These are conversations that are building up. So, what we're going to try to do best is to bring you perspectives from professionals in the trenches, practitioners right now across different functions and organizations who are seeing this change around them, who on a weekly, monthly basis are seeing how work's changing, how are changing, how even productivity and performance measures are changing. And this is also an opportunity for you to ask more questions around what these changes mean for you, as many of you plan and prepare to enter the workforce. So, with that intent, I am very excited to welcome our three panelists. Debayan Das, who's HR business partner at Amazon, who's at the forefront of seeing how HR analytics as well as human discretion come to the fore in making very important talent decisions across leadership, structure, change. We have Sindhura Mamduri, who's a manager at EI and who brings in consulting experience in seeing how organizations are adopting automation, AI, and how they are relooking at their systems and processes from the lens of AI. So brings in a very crucial perspective to see what does this change mean at an org level. And finally, we have Shashwat Singh, who's compensation and performance partner at ABB. Shashwat brings in a very diverse perspective across performance management,